Hi everyone, and welcome back to week 2. This week I'll just briefly cover what we're going to be doing. I'll try to make the video as short as I can, but give you a brief overview of what to expect. Watch week 2 video, here you are watching it, so good for you. We have chapters 6 through 11 in our textbook this week, and these are just some of the topics that you'll see. But chapter 6 talks about the introduction and conclusion, and these are often overlooked, but they play really key, important roles in helping to make sure that the audience follows along and they listen to your speech. Basically, I've seen a lot of unorganized intros, and what you do is you lose your audience right away. And with the conclusion, when it's unorganized and not what the audience expects, one of the huge things that I see is we're not sure if we should clap or not. We're not sure if it's finished. And so this chapter 6 will talk about that. Chapter 7 talks about supporting information. You'll see Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you've taken any general psych or psychology class, Maslow's hierarchy is talked about. Talks about that physiological, the eating, the safety, the love, the esteem, and then that self-actualization needs, which is the very top of Maslow's pyramid. Maslow's hierarchy, you'll see it becoming more important when we get into that persuasion unit, when we're trying to persuade something or someone of something. You'll also see these different types of supports that you can use during your speech. So these supports include narratives, so storytelling, examples, statistics, testimony, and also pictures will be talked about. Chapter 8 is just gathering and evaluating information. So one of the big things with this is there's a lot of information out there, whether it's online, whether it's in the library, whether it's testimony from friends or someone on TV, etc. And what we need to do is we need to be able to evaluate that information and convey that information to our audience. So what this chapter looks at is it focuses on how to get your audience or how to get evidence for speeches from books, online materials, print, might be the newspaper, might be magazines. So that's what chapter 8 will cover. Chapter 9 is using information in your speech, and this really focuses on citing sources. So in this class, we're going to use APA, and I have an activity set up that this week we'll actually do, which will be a really good resource for you, so I hope you find it helpful. There's a couple of videos on this activity, which we'll go over here in a second, and that'll help you with citing sources and also for creating your reference page. I've been using APA now for about 10 years, and I still don't know everything there is about APA. What it is it's a constant learning process. I'm always referencing something online or textbook. So if you have any questions about APA, please ask me. Chapter 10 is about using language. So it talks about these different types of language that we use, whether it's written or oral communication. It talks about different meanings and just essentially how to be clear and how to be interesting by using metaphors, stylistic devices, and inclusive language. So chapter 11 is all about delivery. It's called Presenting Your Speech. So it talks about the different types of outlines that we'll use, the different types of styles. So for example, in this class we use extemporaneous speaking. It talks about vocal aspects. Basically, the biggest issue that I see when students are giving speeches is they talk too quickly. Sometimes I find it helpful to write, even in my lecture notes, to pause, to take a breath, take a sip of water, and that'll help slow it down, slow you down and breathe. So we do have a quiz this week, quiz number 2 right here. Quiz 2 is over chapters 6 through 11. As a reminder, there's no makeup quizzes. The next assignment this week is that speech anxiety activity, which I'll open it on my computer. So there's 3 parts to this assignment. The first part, what I want you to do is just read through these 7 tips that I have on how to deal with this public speaking apprehension. So read through 1 through 7. And then after you do that, I want you to rate these 34 questions that I have below on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being strongly agree, 5 being strongly disagree. And what this does is it helps determine your level of speaking anxiety. So for example, when preparing for giving a speech, I feel tense and nervous. If that really describes me, then I'm going to mark a 1 right here with strongly agree. So you can type it right into this box. And then at the very end, it'll ask you to do a little bit of math. This is the only time in a speech class where I'll ask you to do math. And then you'll put your total score right down here. After you do that, I have 7 questions that I just want to get to know you and kind of your goals of this class. And so you can type right into this document. After you finish, file, save as, and upload it back into our Dropbox, or our submission folder, I should say. So you can just click this little upload and then continue on by hitting this next button. So the next thing I want you to do is the source citation activity. So I'll open that up. And the source citation activity will help you with APA. And I want you to select 3 of these 7 that are listed right here. Types of sources for a potential informative speech topic that you might want to present. And after you find that little bit of fun fact or that trivia or history about a topic, then you're going to type into these 3 lists below that I have. And I'll show you them in a second. But one list should include the source. So whether it's a book, tell me whether it's a website or a magazine, newspaper, tell me where you got it. The middle column is what you would put on a reference page, and I want you to type them in APA. So here's a few sources, 3 sources to be exact, that I listed that can be used to teach you APA. The first 2 are videos, and then the last one is a formatting and style guide, which is on Purdue OWL. And it shows you exactly how to cite a source. And the third list is what you would say during your speech to cite that. So we could start off with according to, state the author, date, where that source came from, and the title of the source. So if you scroll down below, I've created this handy dandy text box, and I gave you an example right here in this first line of what I expect you to do. So after you finish that, file, save as, and then go back to our submission folder and upload it. When you finish that, you have one more assignment for this week, and that's to complete and submit the informative speech rough draft outline. And you'll see if you click on this, the speech assignment description. So our informative speech assignment, I want you to read through this because you will be submitting an informative speech here in, I believe it's 2 weeks from now. So read through this and know what to expect. You're going to either do a training speech or a briefing speech. So it's like a demonstration speech, the training speech. But you're actually going to be teaching us how to do something. For the briefing speech, you might talk about a career or job opportunity in your field. So the goal is to provide current and relevant information about the topic. Details are listed below. 5 to 7 minutes is what we're aiming for. You only need 2 sources cited orally in your outline and on your reference page. So they should be cited in 3 different places. No more than 5 note cards. Presentational aids, They're really optional. If you're doing that training speech, you will most likely have some. And then I want you to submit your typed outline and reference page on the due date, and that's listed on the weekly schedule. I gave you a few sample training speech ideas. You can browse through those if you'd like. The rubric, I'm very clear with what I expect. And so it's divided between the intro, body, conclusion, delivery, your outline. And then I also give you another rubric that's more detailed of exactly what is an attention getter, what's listener relevance, etc. So you can read through this on your own. But then what I want to point out to you, I give you a sample outline for an informative speech. This is how I want your outline to work. So starting on page 11, if we flip down, or not flip, but scroll, I want you to type directly into this. You can copy and paste this into its own Word document, but I want you to type exactly in here, File, Save As, and give me just a rough draft of your informative speech. So the goal for this rough draft is I will give you feedback on it, and you'll use that feedback to make changes on your final outline. And that final outline will be due on the date that the speech is given on that weekly schedule. So those are your assignments for week 2. One of the things you'll probably notice with this week is, everything is due on the same day. And so because we're in a shorter period of time, you should be working on multiple items per day. So for example, you might watch this video, read, and complete the quiz in one day. Moving forward, you might do the speech anxiety activity, and then you might work on the source citation activity, and then save the rough draft for the end, but just being aware of those due dates. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm here to help you. You can call, you can email me. Otherwise, I'm looking forward to going through your rough drafts and the rest of your assignments. So let me know if you have any questions, and have a good rest of your week, and we'll see you next week.